As we strive to enter into what we call a state of peaceful calm, mindfulness, contemplative silence, it is most important to remember that when we practice this type of spiritual exercise, we must first be grounded in a proper physical posture. A great master once said that he could determine the depth of one's concentration simply by observing their posture. And for centuries, that posture has been labeled and called the classical lotus position, one in which we sit without back support while crossing our ankles and feet over our knees. Well, this Eastern posture can prove to be very difficult and painful for our Western sentimentalities because we're not used to doing it. So, we're going to assume a modified version of the lotus position, one in which we use a chair with a rigid back, and instead of crossing our legs, or rather our feet and ankles over our knees, we're going to cross them underneath the chair. Or if we feel more comfortable, we can let our feet just be placed flat on the floor. Next, we need to discuss the 5 areas of the body which must be aligned and balanced into that proper position. Those 5 areas are the hips and the pelvis, the lumbar region, which is the lower back, the shoulder, shoulder blades, and torso, the cervical region of the spine just under the head, and finally, the head itself. Let's begin with the pelvic region. We're talking about the buttocks and the pelvis, the hips. We must first make sure that we're placed all the way to the back of the chair and that our pelvis is equally distributed onto the chair on a horizontal plane. No shift on one side or the other. The weight is equally distributed on both sides of the pelvis. Our next area of concentration after the pelvic region is that of the lumbar region. I'm talking about the last 4 or 5 vertebrae of the lower back. What we want to do is keep those vertebrae aligned into the back of the chair so that they are straight up and down on a vertical plane. When I say straight, that is, keep it straight without tension. Keep it relaxed, but make sure there's no bend in the last several vertebrae of the back. Straight without tension. Next, let's move to the shoulders, the shoulder blades, and the torso area. We need to make sure that the shoulders are not forward and slumped, nor should they be back too far. Something that will help us here is the placement of hands. Some people think that the hands should be over the knees. But the problem with that is it pulls the shoulders forward. It's better if we take our hands, slide them back to the torso. That naturally moves the shoulder blades together and the shoulders back. Once again, we have an equilibrium, equal pressure on both sides as the shoulder blades come together without tension. Next, let's talk about the cervical area of the spine. And I'm referring to the first 4 or 5 vertebrae which connect to the head, the cervical area of the neck. What we want is a straight column, up and down, not to the side, left or right. We want those vertebrae elongated, and more importantly, we don't want it too far forward or back. Of course, our culture, we have a lot of this happening. And it's because of desk jobs, computers, and a lot of the work that we do in our culture. So remember, straight, not too far back, not slouched, elongated, without tension. Remind ourselves to stay relaxed all the time. Finally, let's talk about the position of the head. The head as it's placed on the cervical column. Once again, our culture and our work tends to let this happen. And the head becomes twice as heavy as it should be. We want the head to be vertically balanced on the cervical spine. Not too far this way, or more importantly, this way, or this way. Balanced on top of the cervical spine. Find that perfect spot where the head becomes almost weightless because it's balanced. Okay, now we're ready to do our first exercise in which we are checking posture. We're going to concentrate on the hips, the lumbar area, the chest, the torso, the shoulder blades, the shoulders, the cervical area, and the head. And we're going to make sure everything is lined up, that it's balanced, without tension, and that everything is relaxed. This can be our first meditation, our first attempt to reach a state of peaceful calm. Here we go. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to start at the pelvic area. I'm making sure it's balanced, that the weight is properly situated on a horizontal line. I'm going to slowly move to my lumbar area, making sure the 5 lower vertebrae are straight, that they're into the back of the chair, that I've released all tension, that I'm relaxed. I'm going to move up and scan the shoulder blades, making sure I'm not slouched, that the hands are close to my torso. I'm going to go to the cervical area of my neck, making sure I've got a straight column, that it's not too far forward. It's not to the left or right, it's balanced. Once again, release tension, relax, move to my head, making sure it's perfectly balanced on the column, it's not too far forward. I'm checking for relaxation and tension. I'm going to scan back down, covering the cervical area, the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the torso, reminding myself to stay relaxed. Remove tension down to my lumbar area. Breathe. Move into my pelvic region. Am I on a perfect horizontal plane without tension and relaxed? And back up, scanning, reminding myself to stay relaxed, to release tension wherever I may find it.